Welcome to Bleeding Tree Gaming, the podcast with more slipped discs than any other known gaming podcast.
Very true, very true. I'm Aimee.
I'm Tammy.
Wait,
no.
No, you're not Tammy.
I'm not Tammy.
Am I Tammy?
You're Tammy.
Okay.
Are you sure you're not Aimee?
I'm Aimee.
You're Aimee.
Yes.
And you're...
I'm the Autumn Witch, aka the Sister of Prattle.
And you don't talk.
I'm mildly disgruntled.
That's an understatement. You're the house perpetually exhausted pigeon.
And you're Peter.
I'm Peter, and I refuse to have a nickname after hearing what it sounded like last time when I said that.
I mean, WikiPete does rhyme with WikiFeed, which is a fascinating website.
I said nothing and have no... Wait, what?
The comment section on WikiFeet is amazing, because it's people that just want to jerk off to pictures of celebrities' feet, arguing over feet.
We've discovered who here has a foot fetish.
Specific about it.
I blame...
You think WarHammer people can get argumentative about their hobby?
I saw an interesting detail that I never caught before. Remember the movie From Dusk Till Dawn?
Yes. Yeah. Did you notice that Tarantino has a foot fetish?
And he cast himself as one of the characters who has Salma Hayek sticking her feet in his mouth.
Yes.
That's because he has a foot fetish.
Discomforting.
Pervs just want to have fun.
Yes, yeah, very true.
They want to have fun all over someone's feet.
Hit song in the 80s.
Oh, pervs, they just want to have fun.
So...
Oh, pervs, they want to shoot cum.
I think I can segue this into what I hobbied recently.
Go on then. What have you been hobbying?
So I painted the Pandora core set from Malifaux because I wanted to find the least Space Marine thing in Malifaux, and I was very pleased with myself until someone commented, "Oh, you found Warhammer Barbie." Because the main character is a girl.
Oh,
So made me want to get away from that person, but anyway. While painting them, the Pandora herself and her little doll, she's got you got Pandora, you got a baby with a knife, and a teddy bear that it's nailed to the ground. 3 human-sized ghosts, 1 really big ghost, and then an animated doll with a little basket that has a skull in it.
So you're right, it's pretty far away from Space Marines.
Yeah. So Pandora and the doll have really tiny feet, as one would expect, because these are like 28mm scale models. And I had already put a roller putty onto the bases for terrain rollers, because that was how I wanted to do the bases. And I worked, and I said, oh no, how am I going to glue these high-impact polystyrene things to it, because their feet are too narrow to pin them.
They are stunning. They are amazing.
The models are very pretty, yeah. But what really struck me is how just sort of different they seem from Games Workshop kits. And I'm guessing it's because the production team has no intent of doing multi-part kits. They're not doing multi-part posable kits. Their plastic kits are just an evolution of their metal kits, of their resin kits. So it's you can convert it, yeah, but they're not gonna worry too much about that. But that meant all the joins and stuff were teeny and hidden inside the models, except for some of the ones on the chins, one of which I screwed up, and I cut off part of her wrist. Anyway, so the kits are gorgeous, and they're monopose, and I don't care, because they're lovely and wonderful, and they have things wrapping around them.
Awesome.
The molds have these little 3mm pegs, which are where stuff flows together.
So we've moved on to pegging.
The pegs from multiple screws can be connected like the new D&D kits, so that's good for stacking in a warehouse, presumably. But I have a 3mm drill bit, I have 3mm high-impact polystyrene pegs. I will drill little holes through the terrain goo, glue the model to the polystyrene peg, stick the peg into the base, and they will stand on their peg.
Okay.
We have moved on from rimming bases to pegging bases.
Yes, but the rimming this was before we started recording.
Anyway,
We started with rimming, and we're now at pegging.
We're not talking about painting the rims of bases, we're talking about drilling pegs into them. I also then immediately went and bought some ABS plastic rod and tried this on a Necron, which worked out splendidly. So I now have a Necron on a little peg base.
Well, that's what you've been working on. Tammy, what have you been working on?
Not having heat stroke, mainly. But, yes, I got my first video out with my forestry terrain board, which... Well, no, it's not a board, it's just a collection of
Yeah, looking very
things.
nice.
And it's nice and eerie. And the next thing I'm going to be doing with it is painting it, which should hopefully be a much quicker process.
Was especially amused by your comment that you've never eaten cottage cheese before.
Yes.
So you didn't know what it meant that this compound was supposed to be like cottage cheese. However, you have mixed sawdust and plaster with water. Now it is, and therefore this...
Yeah.
Yes. I wrote a joke.
I don't think the joke was explicitly obvious, so we can get another 10 seconds out of the podcast.
You know what, I can be subtle at times.
Well, I think we've got a lot to be getting on with in this episode anyway. If I can just...
we'll forget half of it.
If I can just move on to mine, I've been painting another bad Squiddo commission.
Nice.
Been getting a lot of those in.
Anything
A lot of
with
the
a
back
fade.
catalogue of Bristol Creations. I've just did a Squid, which is totally not a squig at all because it's a different colour, see.
And it's made by Bad Squiddo.
Yes, it's
But
a
can they be
squid.
friends? Can it be friends with the squids?
I mean,
Can it be
yeah,
like-
it can play with them, and I think
Can it be like the babe pig that is adopted by the sheepdogs, but it's a squid, not a squig?
It's a lovely kit, and it's got space on a little howdah on the back for like a goblin figure, and it's very cool. And I've also got some masks. There's loads of like skulls, and there's some kind of aliens and sci-fi and fantasy stuff. Yeah, it's a super sprue. I really like some of the ram skulls there that I think would be great for my dream of Resident Evil 4 cultists at some point. It's a conversion I'd love to do.
The Frostgrave cultist kits are also really good for like messed up, crazy... It's
Yeah,
like some
those
of them
are
are like
fantastic
full on
kits.
humans, and some of them are like half zombie with like flesh hanging off and bones sticking through them.
Mm-hmm.
I do like those kits. They are so reminiscent of mid-90s Citadel miniatures.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about something else that's happened this week, and I think this is one of the most hotly talked issues.
Yeah, it is. I tore one of my teeth out earlier.
Yes, Tammy tore out one of her teeth.
And she's refusing to talk to the
hobby
doctor
community.
because she's fine, she says.
Oh, come on, we've all seen Looney Tunes cartoons. I did like, my first reaction was, what? You tore a tooth out? But then I was like, no, I've seen those cartoons. Like, those cats were always fine afterwards.
Yeah.
But no, the real hot topic issue I wanted to talk about was the Golden Demon tickets, which I know
Oh.
I brought up briefly last time, but there was such an absolute clusterfuck around this.
What the actual hell happened?
Yeah, like Eventbrite, literally, people were refreshing and clicking checkout, and within half a second, they'd gone. I managed to get a ticket, and I managed to do it by me, my mom, and another friend all tried at the same time, and I actually, it was me who managed to get through, and I got one ticket, so I'm not going to be...
Yeah.
I didn't get 3 and hoarding them, but like there are some fantastic artists out there who are absolutely gutted that they can't enter their pieces in this Golden Demon this year.
Would you say they were better than you?
Horrible.
Many of them are hugely better.
I can only think of one.
Which of course, then
load.
ups your chances.
Well, I only know one who didn't get it.
Does, but who wants to win a golden demon just like and have it said, oh, they only won because like all the good people couldn't get tickets?
Yeah, but
like,
the people would say that
for...
anyway.
Office Painter didn't get one.
Yeah, there was a lot of
I
people
feel like
I've
that's
seen
a
on
good
Twitter just.
Oh god, there's more editing I've got to do. I'm going to put a shock collar on you, and every time you say something that I'm going to have to edit out, I'm going to just turn up the juice. I'm going to utterly fry you.
Just if you hold up the missing tooth, I'll panic.
Be like that scene in
Would
the
you like me
first,
to go and
first
get it?
No, I don't
Simpsons
want to see it.
where they have them all wired up and they just like turn off the power in the entire town.
All right, so Golden
So,
Demon
yeah.
bad.
It's just been an absolute nightmare. I'm looking forward to the show. I've now got 2 months before the show, and it didn't really hit until I got the tickets on the second the second batch of tickets that they released. So I've now been hit by the realisation I've got 2 months to finish my entries, and I started some of them right at the start of the year. My big diorama, which is from the Aaron Dempsey Black Legion books. Currently, I've barely got a lick of paint on the whole thing. I've still not finished building it. I've got my vampire that I've been chipping at a few hours here and there. That's almost done.
I keep looking for bits of these in the background of all the photos we're sharing and stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, is this there? Is it there?
They're
Is it
usually
there?
hiding in the back. I don't want to reveal too much. I do share photos of work in progress, but
If you win any sort of award, we can tell people there's a new game. They have to go back through all your social media posts and find the past pictures.
yes, yeah. But yeah, it's 2 months' time is not a lot of time to do that, and I have commission work that takes up a lot of my time, and we're doing videos now, so that's more work. So I am mega busy. I don't know about everyone else. I know, obviously, you two aren't going to Golden Demon. But,
Well, no, I mean...
you were also making videos, so...
Yeah.
If you drop out, I'll just enter whatever the hell I have around.
See, I prefer to think of my painting style as tabletop plus. If I really try. There's one or two that I've done that have been, I'd say, maybe display worthy, but I just haven't got the patience.
That's fair. Everyone should paint at the level that they enjoy.
Exactly.
So I've got the sepulchral guard.
Sepulchral.
The skelly guard.
Sepulchral.
They're the skelly guard.
I can normally say that word, sepulchral.
Anyway, so I've got those, and I painted them a while ago, and once again recorded good pictures for videoing.
Mm.
Or recorded both little video clips of what I did, and then I took like 360 pictures of each model. So it should be fairly nice.
Cool.
And that's gonna be the next video once I get the Stalag Squig done, which probably won't involve as much wobbly as the Stags do, but anyway. So I've been working on Stormcast because I'm determined not to be a hoarder, and I'm going to paint all the models I own, and the next ones are the Stormcast, and getting the gold metallics on the armor.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I decided that I was going to just paint everything I got, and then they announced the Age of Darkness set, and stuff might have happened which involved purchasing it.
But Tammy, there's an Age of Darkness set sitting right in front of me.
Yes, there is.
And some of the models have been assembled.
And it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Some of them don't even have, like, the stock parts.
Yes, I may have accidentally 3D printed some additional parts to convert them into white scars.
There's also a big bag of red dice.
Yes, that's not the dice that came with it. That's dice from another instance of something happening.
Okay.
Now these beakies, I know most people have already seen them by now, but they are sexy. There's just something about, it's the classic beaky, but reimagined. I am such a fan of how clean the lines are on it.
Yeah. See, for fans of the classic beakies, my video after my next video is going to be a Rogue Trader project with me essentially having dug out a load of my old Rogue Trader stuff that I picked up back in the just after Rogue Trader era. And I'm going to be doing a small Blood Angels force.
Nice.
Which should be fun. The models being about 1/3 the size of the current scale.
Okay, if, unlike me, you're nostalgic for the Rogue Trader rules, or, like me, you're overly nostalgic for textbook-sized tomes, I noticed the 40th or 30th anniversary Rogue Trader rulebook is still for sale in Warhammer World.
They've got that.
That is still on my shelf upstairs.
Yeah, they've got that and the 2 Realm of Chaos books. I picked up both of those Realm of Chaos reprints. They are absolutely
this Rogue
fantastic.
Trader project that I'm doing is going to have the rulebook, and it is going to have the authentic models painted in a
Battle for the Farm.
Oh God, no! I'm painting them as Blood Angels.
Oh, okay.
I'm not doing fucking Imperial Fists.
I really want to know if Midwinter Minis got out of his Games Workshop NDA just so he could start showing off Rogue Trader style Terminators.
I mean, is that in the NDA?
No, I'm pretty sure the NDA lets people do that because I've seen loads of them just
show
do
off
retro.
3D printed third party substitutes.
Oh. I don't know.
That is
So they were 3D printed third party models, but he cut their heads off and replaced them with stock plastic kit.
All right. Well, let's not go into the legality of what other people are doing.
I'm sure that's legal.
In order for me to be able to rebuild a lot of the miniatures, not all of them have their backpacks, which means either I'm going to have to pay extortionate amounts, I'm going to have to go and rob Jade, because she hoards a lot of Rogue Trader stuff, but my back's not up to cat burgling anymore. Or I can 3D print a file that's been sat on my hard drive.
From that Mission Impossible thing from the ceiling, you're like, can you just spin around and can't actually steal the stuff? But
So there will be some 3D printing involved. I mean, I don't care so much about it being 100% authentic models from that era. I mean, you're not going to get the same effect. So I'm going to do like a slightly more modernised look on them. I'm going to be doing like sort of green bases, but not the Dayglow bright green bases from the second edition.
Not the Goblin Green.
Yeah. I mean, in Rogue Trader, they tended to be a bit more sort of earthy.
Yeah, there was a lot of that.
Yeah. But yes, I have a fair few tactical marines. I've got an old what was regarded then as a Contemptor Dreadnought, which is absolutely nothing like the modern Contemptor Dreadnought.
Yes.
I've got a couple of Rogue Trader era HQ choices. So and I've got a Rhino. So
very nice.
Yeah, there should be enough for a small skirmish using either the original Rogue Trader rules or, because all of those builds are legal in modern 40k, we could go that
very
way.
good. Yeah.
So YouTube shuffling things, one of the things that's shuffling is Bill makes stuff.
Yeah.
His little stop motion transitions are gorgeous. His dry, mildly confused humor speaks volumes of someone who knows what they're doing but refuses to admit it. But he's all about scratch building stuff, and he keeps turning out all these little robots, and they're all made of little junk and stuff. And I just was discussing with Aimee a while ago that I was overly enamored with the idea of making like a combat patrol size Tyranid force of scratch-built junk robots. And then on the way over here, or while counting sheep last night or something, it came to me the way to make this tournament legal is to then get the actual Tyranid models, but use them for basing details. So it's got the actual Tyranid model like lumped on the base. So if there's any doubt, you go, it's the thing on the base. And that's like just...
That's an interesting way of doing it. Yeah, I'd like to see that, because, next year, rumours are 9th edition.
There's
getting
no...
Tyranids.
10th
edition.
I would
We're so old, we keep getting the numbers mixed up.
Yeah.
I would be... Well, there's something to speculate on. But we're going to talk about contrast and shade.
Yes. So, in the last episode, we did mention them. The contrasts were just coming out, but now, I've got a handful of them. I've been playing around with them for several weeks, and I'd like to just give a quick talk about them.
Cat's out of the pot.
Yep. So,
has anyone spilled the new ones yet?
I have not, but I know many people do. And the first thing I want to say is Targor Rage Shade. Targor Rage Shade. Targor motherfucking Rage Shade. That is the shit. It is the new Agrax Earthshade, and I say this without hesitation. It is better than Agrax Earthshade. Because it's Agrax Earthshade, but just with a hint of red to it. It's just like a little bit warmer, and there's something about it. Like, I was literally... before this got announced at all, I literally thought to myself, why don't they do a shade that's like Agrax Earthshade, but a bit more red brown? And they answered my prayers, like, literally.
You need to stop praying to the dark gods.
Well, yes, yeah. But Targor Rage Shade, it is the best out of all the new washes that I've tried so far. I will say that the consistency of the new washes, I don't think they're as great as like the hype was made out to be. They still do stain surfaces in a way that I'm not sure I like, but and they do tend to be very glossy still. That's always the problem with Games Workshop, but you shove on an ultramatte coat afterwards and they're pretty good. As for the contrast paints themselves, those single pigment ones, absolutely fantastic, just for like quickly putting down some yellow, some red, some orange. I thought the black one was really good, considering I've already got so many different types of blacks, whether it's like kind of acrylic inks or just acrylic paints or whatever. But the black, it just gives you instant coat, solid black, runs off the brush.
You're like proper experienced in this crap. My understanding is that when they make a paint, they mix up a bunch of pigment to give it the color.
Yes.
And for some paints, they'll use multiple pigments to get the right color and something that looks right in the bottle. But then, because of chemistry and optics and crap, if you mix multiple multi-pigment paints together, or you thin them too much or whatever, they get a little bit weird. They get a little unpredictable. So a single pigment paint is not a predictor of quality, but it's really narrowing down the window of things that can go wrong.
Yeah, so I talked about this a lot in my last video about how acrylic paints, I tried to get this across anyway, acrylic paints, it's that whole thing where, you remember at school, like where you get taught about, okay, different colours of light, you mix them together, you get these colours, and you try and do it with the paints, and you end up with like a brown sludgy mess. That is because those paints are not a single pigment. So you have all these different ones combining together. And that can be really useful because you can get some lovely like kind of pastel subtle tones that are like browns and greys that work when you kind of work them into a piece. But a single pigment will just retain that kind of solidity of colour.
If I would it be dumbing it down to say that a single pigment paint is more predictable and easier to do these color acrobatics with?
I don't know if I'd say it's easier. Because the multi-pigment ones, like I say, a lot of the colour acrobatics I talk about in my video is using grey and brown tones, which you don't get from the single pigment ones. But for getting a bright colour, just if you want something like shockingly bright, you want single pigment basically. And yet, the red, the magenta, the orange, and I think it's Imperial Fist yellow and the black. Those are the ones I've been using. Absolutely fantastic colours for what they do. Yeah, that's my review of them. Other thing, I did mention this last episode, but my very first article is out now in Wargames Illustrated.
Nice.
You can pick that up for the rest of the month. It's issue 416. Yeah, I did a small Viet Cong force, doing some kind of skirmish-based Vietnam gaming in the future. At some point soon, I will hand in my second article, so look out for that in like 6 to 12 months.
There's Aimee showing off her articles to everybody.
So,
check out that article.
Did you have a game system in mind for the Viet Cong force?
I have had a look around, and I hadn't found anything that was in like 28mm scale. I found loads of smaller ones. But after the article was published, like the second day after, I got a message from Facebook off a person who read the article saying, "Oh, you should play this game." So I'm going to look into that.
I think you should use them in Kill Team as a proxy for like Krieg or something. Something very robust and sort of fighting right down to the.
I just because obviously I'm working on a US force as well. I do just want to have a game of a day of like Vietnam themed skirmish gaming that's based very heavily on Rising Storm Vietnam, which is a game I've been playing a lot of.
Now you're going to have like the appropriate playlist in the background.
Yeah.
You're going to need to really overuse Fortunate Son.
Well,
born on the 4th of July.
I'm playing Viet Cong. I don't need to worry about that. I'll find some traditional Vietnamese music of the time.
Nice. Well, what was with the latest version of Imperium?
Oh, the Imperium magazine, I think, is behind schedule, but it has been since that thing we're not allowed to mention. Or the other thing that we shouldn't mention. So Imperium last week was the A sprue from the Sisters of Battle. And so I keep saying this, and people look at me like I'm crazy. But I think the the Phobos Armor Space Marines, Sisters of Battle, and the Scoliosis multi-part Orc kit were all done as ABB sprues. I think now I'm not sure about the Orc kit but the old Scoliosis Orc kit has an A sprue with the leader and the special weapons, and then a B sprue with 4 boys, and that brings the kit
5.
up.
You actually get in the old kit 11 full boys,
right.
And you get torsos for another 2. So if you go to Spellcrow or Cromlech, you get a few of these boxes. You can get like some free units out of it.
Oh, okay.
So I'm getting sidetracked. Games Workshop has an ABB system for a lot of their kits.
Yeah.
They'll have an A sprue with the leader.
It's
and
the same with
heavy.
Age of Darkness. You get 5 Marines on a sprue, and for every 2 sprues, there's another one with some sergeant bits and some like comm gear and that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
The Vexilla, Power Fists, Lightning Claws, that sort of thing.
So anyway, this week was issue 49 was the A sprue for the Sisters of Battle. And next week is the Royal Court, the 70 quid Necron sprue.
Okay.
So that's not going to be on shelves.
I already have plenty of those.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for the sisters in particular. That's the main thing I want, and also
Aimee,
Guilliman.
They're out.
Yeah, but they're not out in deliveries.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm still
You've
subscribing.
already ordered.
I've been subscribed since the start, so yeah,
Right,
I'm just waiting for my
sorry.
next delivery of 4 issues.
So my headache with it was that so I switched to Forbidden Planet thinking that they'd do the issues each week like they used to.
Mm-hmm.
I don't mind that they're not, but that would mean my fancy new ox-sized mailbox could fit the thing, and I wouldn't have to be up to it. Well, I wouldn't have to be within hearing range of the postie. Anyway, so the sisters have an ABB set up. This week was the A sprue with the leader and the penitent engine and the sergeants.
Yeah.
A few weeks ago was one of the B sprues, which I doubled up on because I didn't know there was another B sprue coming in 56. So
It's essentially all the stuff from the army box that,
it is
which
the
is now
starter
included in the combat patrol. It's the only combat patrol box I've actually bought. The only combat patrol box I've ever bought was the Sisters one, because it's got all that stuff from the army box and a Sisters Rhino with it, which I converted into a...
What do they call the
repressive
guys? The
Arcoflagellants.
Yeah.
One of them, at least one of them has the proper markings to be Penitent 707. That was Thaddeus's lost Arcoflagellant.
Was that from the Inquisitor game?
That's from Blackstone Fortress.
Oh, from Blackstone Fortress.
So I'm going to have yet another special person for you guys to play, to recover and rescue whenever we frickin' remember to get together and play Blackstone Fortress. And so for now, if you want crypto thralls for your chronomancer, or if you want extra really tall things, what are they called? Canoptech Reanimators?
Canoptech Reanimate, oh god. I've painted a load of Necrons. I've got so many Necrons left to paint, and I know I'm speed painting them. There's like a few of the fancy models I would still love to paint, but I think my energy for them has been dispersed by just having so many other projects. I've kind of forgotten about them, but one day I will finish. I do have a decent force painted up though, so
nice.
I'll have to do a game with them soon.
Nice, I'll have to decide what I'm going to kill them with. I did want to bring up Warhammer Plus, because we're coming up on the anniversary.
Yeah, a lot of people have already got their sniper models. I haven't.
I haven't either, which is annoying. I wonder if because they say there's going to be...
Did you go check the website? There's like a little timer that shows you how long till you can get it.
No, I didn't.
I went on there a while back. I need to check up again now.
Yeah. But what I'm wondering is, because in the announcement for the second year, they were talking about like more free models.
World Eater.
Yeah,
it's the World Eater from the classic artwork.
That's something in Terminator armor.
Yeah, no, I don't know if anyone. Terminator. I don't
know if anyone has a guess about what this model is. I just don't know. I just don't know anyone who would be excited about an old Terminator.
Oh, I would.
Damn you. That was my favourite artwork. I used to copy that into my school textbooks, and the second we saw even a glimpse of that model, I was like, I know what that is. I know what that is. And I did the full Pepe Sylvia image where, like, I'm just connecting the dots, like, okay, this is this bit, this is this bit. It is the Khorne Terminator we're getting. And I could not be happy.
I mean, it would be a 40k miniature and an Age of Sigmar.
Talking about Khorne, it was Khorne Day recently, 8th of the 8th.
See, I don't like Khorne.
You don't like Khorne?
I don't like Khorne. You eat
especially
it,
not on your pizza.
And it doesn't die.
Oh,
but cornmeal as pizza
Khorne
release
pizza
agent, as crust release agent, cornmeal is an excellent functionality in pizza.
Yeah, so I saw some very cool models. Let's talk about the obvious one, the new Berserkers. Khorne Berserkers, it's been so long, almost 30 years since that current kit came out.
But if anyone from the studio is listening and they can keep hiding Wally in the background, I say risk it.
There best be a complete remake of Wally. That would be perfect.
Or you could go out and get a old Berserker kit now, just
I bought one for Christmas a couple of years ago.
I'm excited because getting new Terminators, Khorne Terminators and Khorne Berserkers means I'll soon be able to do a diorama of the second edition Chaos Codex properly. But I love that model. I think what we've seen so far, the Khorne release, is super awesome.
I think someone had a scale picture of them, and they're big, they're still... It's big and it's standing up straight, so it's almost as tall as the Assault Intercessor, who's completely leaning over.
Really?
But they should still be a head shorter than the Assault Intercessors.
Yeah, true.
There is very little consistency between.
No, this is good. This is the modeling team. Okay, so the scale creep in Games Workshop. It's supposed to be 28 millimeter, but it's more like
32.
It's more like
the
30.
New Sisters are 32.
It's more like 35.
They are taller than most non-Primaris Space Marines.
However, I would say to me this indicates that the scale creep is a year issue rather than a sort of sloppy. They're just getting bigger as the years go on. So the new Terminator, the new Khrone Marines are a little bit shorter than the Primaris. Good for them. Artistic integrity has been proven.
Yeah, I don't care about the size. Like, people go on about scale creep. I guess people who are like competitive players who like to have their stuff easily packed away, that's a problem.
See, I just like an army
more room to paint.
It's
consistent.
Yeah.
Getting terrain and scenery to work for it is tedious. I recently, I was in the woods playing D&D, and we were using the Underworlds model. You might have seen the picture of all the Underworlds models I had ready. If you were on our social media, so like, share, and subscribe.
Follow us
on the buttons. Do the buttons. Do the thing.
Follow us, or Satan will eat your soul.
Follow us for more hobby-related noise in your social media brew.
Yes.
But the occasional funny meme about being a recluse or something like that. Anyway, no. The goblins, from Zarbag's Gits are about as big as the 28mm player characters we had. Which
really?
Admittedly.
Wow.
My 28mm player characters are HeroForge characters who were bought
those
for
ones
Unity.
can be a little small, so...
Well, you can resize them.
So I bought them. They were our Dungeon Master bought them for Unity as a Christmas present like 2 years ago, which is kind of funny. But it was kind of funny that we've been playing it long. I got the packages out and converted them to the 3D printing files, thinking this would be great, but the Unity models are optimized for games, so they look best with a texture map. When you 3D print them, they get extra squarey, pixelated.
Yeah, very true.
Yeah. I think Goobertown Hobbies had instructions on how to fix this, but...
Okay, that's interesting.
See, with scale creep, though, there is a cynical part of me that thinks that whenever a range is refreshed, GW just wants you to chuck out your old models and buy the new ones.
True.
The thing is, I've got like 20,000 points of Ultramarines, ranging from Rogue Trader era up to like the modern 9th Ed Primaris releases, and if I were to line them all up in like order of age, and you would go from one to the next, to the next, to the next, you wouldn't see too much of a change. But if you just put one of the Rogue Trader ones next to a Primaris one, it's
yeah. The old RTBO ones.
The Sisters of Battle as well. The
small.
The old metal ones were about the right scale compared to Space Marines for an average height, genetically buggered about with none. But now they're like a whole head. Now I am all for like 6.5 foot nuns with a raging wet one for martyrdom and fire. I'm fine with that. It's just that I want to be able to play my old ones. They were selling these right up to the point where the new ones came out. People were just going, I'll get some of the old ones, and then I'll get some... And no, the old ones are just like a complete head below. So essentially, I've got... one of my favourite Sisters models is like one of the old Canonesses. She's got a Combi Flamer, which has now become... Legends. I mean, I fucking hate when they do that, because they always tend to do that once I've actually bought a model with what they've decided will then become a Legends thing. I had an entire Ultramarine command squad on bikes. It's like, this is really, really... What the fuck have they done? Excuse me? I just spent like 50 quid on customising this unit.
Yeah, well, the thing about scale creep is, like, I can understand there may be people at corporate saying, like, okay, how do we get everyone to chuck out their armies and buy new ones? Like, that very well might happen, and they say, like, obviously we'll bring out these Primaris, but we'll, like, stagger it so that people don't get too jumpy all at once and just jump ship entirely. But the thing from the design point of view is larger miniatures, more detail. It's just it's a huge advantage.
I mean, we have a selection.
And they look better compared to your competitors' models who aren't as tall.
Yes.
Or at least that's what the people who says make them bigger.
See, we have before us a selection of assembled Mark VI Space Marines from the Age of Darkness box set. And there is not actually that much difference in height between them and the Mark III Tactical Squad kit.
They're not that much bigger. They're a bit nicer scale.
Yeah, the proportions are different. I would say there's about a millimetre, maybe 2 extra on the thigh.
Is that super glue on the plastic? You should
Where?
put this together with super glue here. It's on the top of the heavy bolter. It's glossy like there's super glue. You're not a casual. You wouldn't use super glue on plastic to plastic.
Yes, I do.
You can use that.
That was
No wonder your
already
teeth fall out.
that was already on the model. That was a blemish on the actual model itself. It's just the only unpainted heavy bolter of that kind. But yeah, when it comes to assembling models, I always put the backpack and the head on with a dab of super glue, and onto the base as well on the underside of the feet, because an assembled model is an absolute bugger to paint sometimes. So you can take it apart easily, and then you don't have to worry about the plastic being ruined. It's super glue. It's a clean break.
Yeah,
you can scrape it off.
I'll use a lot of super glue on plastic stuff. Like, obviously, if there's like gaps, and for the main body of plastic stuff, you use plastic glue. But super glue, when you want to be able to maybe take it apart again and put it back together.
Yeah, that's one of the things that the game. When someone throws stuff at him, it's one of the things in like GW tutorials. They very rarely say, do sub assemblies or the like with like the regular sort of rank and file infantry, and it just makes it so much easier to do sub assemblies. It's almost like one could wash it. Well, if you fuck up painting those, you've got to buy more of them.
I just figured it was because they didn't want it to look complicated.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not complicated. It's okay. Put this arm on. Use some blue tack. They could even have their own brand of blue tack.
Yeah.
And charge 3 times as much for it.
I've seen a yellow. Somebody has been using an orange tack that a lot, and it stands out.
Okay.
So one of the or whatever that we all share our fondness for has been using orange tack, and my suspicion is that whatever brand this is works better than blue tack, because blue tack never holds.
Black tack.
Well, yeah, we tend to use black tack.
Yeah, me and Tammy.
Okay, there's something else.
Black tack is like the industrial version, and I definitely recommend you try it out because it's a lot stickier than blue tack.
Where's it? It's
Got
down
some
here.
to hand?
I know exactly
this is
where
plaster.
it is. It'll be in one of these drawers.
The only thing about black tack is you can't get it on the paint because it will just lift that paint off. It is so sticky. But for using it to stick models down to stuff temporarily, it is far superior to blue tack.
Yeah, it feels good.
I mean, you only need to use like a really, really thin layer of it, and you get some really good hold on it.
Oh yeah.
And then you can take it off with like the blade of a hobby knife. Yes.
So you saw another corn thing, did you?
Yeah, the Underworldsy one.
Yeah. So it's a corn guy with a sculpted base, which means he's part of Underworlds. And the logo on it was Underworld's Nether Maze, which suggests to me he'll be released as part of the Nether Maze cycle. So they do a new edition of Underworlds every 6 months now.
Every 6 months now?
Yeah.
Oh.
Which I thought was going to mean the 2 warbands in the box plus 1 more, because that's what they did with the Harrow Deep.
Yeah.
Right.
And this one, I thought the 1 external warband was going to be the humans. But the fact that the corn guy has another maze stuck on his photo means maybe he's part of this. It's gonna be another one. They did say it was a bumper year for Chaos. We all assumed they meant Chaos Space Marines, but
well, we've already seen there's loads of Slaves to Darkness stuff coming by at the end of the year.
yeah.
See,
Delacor's army.
I'm just disappointed that we don't seem to be getting Emperor's Children as a separate faction just yet. Because that means that we're going to have to wait until the next round of Chaos Codex is at least in 10th edition before if there's any chance of us seeing...
Fingers crossed, not more than 2 or 3 years down the line, but still, it's a bit of a disappointment.
I will hold my breath. Sorry, I won't hold my breath, but I'll cross my fingers for a Noise Marine rock and roll guitar based Emperor's Children kit set for Kill Team.
That would be a good start.
That would be good, because obviously with all the new Kill Team units, they are usable in 40k.
I love how they're doing a sort of Underworld style thing of doing something weird with the Kill Team stuff.
Yeah, the Kill Teams have been good. Okay, so what other news has there been?
There were a lot of Lord of the Rings release announcements at
Exactly.
Gen Con.
The Middle-earth strategy battle game. So we saw a new edition of the game. Battle of Osgiliath.
Is it a whole new edition?
Yes, it's a whole new edition. It's the Battle of Osgiliath. It contains a Mordor force, obviously, and a Gondor force.
Apparently there's Gothmog.
Yeah,
well.
Gothmog has a fantastic pair of
See,
models.
I mean, this isn't exactly on topic, but I would have really loved it if in the Hobbit trilogy they'd had Gothmog as a villain. And so when he turns up in Return of the King, all mangled and twisted, that would like just speak back to like, that part in the Hobbit where one of them set him on fire or something.
That might have been interesting. Yeah. It's a fantastic model, and I think some of the other models we've seen, I think they've really captured like the looks of like real people from the movies very well, especially like Faramir and Elrond, which, spoilers, those are some of the other ones. Faramir obviously comes in the box set. Now, I've heard some of the stuff in the box set is old models.
I have to admit, I've checked out of Lord of the Rings.
But it's like the Age of Darkness box. You get 10 Cataphractii Terminators in there, and it's the same kit that was used in the Betrayal on Calth.
That's from 5 years ago.
Yeah.
A lot of the basic troops you get in the new box set are ones from like 2000 or so, which is a bit disappointing.
I mean, they were very good sculpts at the time.
They were good, yeah.
And I can see why, because it's more of a niche game.
True.
They're going the expense of producing new kits when the old kits are serviceable.
Yeah. I mean, there's the battle boxes.
Yeah.
They're obviously like all old ones. But when they did the Pelennor Fields, that had much more troops and they were all new.
Yeah.
So this one's got scenery in it, and I was let down by the scenery. Like I
did
love
look
the
a bit
character
sparse.
models. It's just so generic. Like Osgiliath, like didn't have as much kind of huge detail out of all the sets in Lord of the Rings. You only see it a little bit, really. But one of the things that summed it up for me is like all these domed buildings, and you haven't got any of that. You just got ruined walls.
Well, the thing with Osgiliath is that it was shown as street-to-street fighting. It's a very sort of dense, packed area. Half of it's in the river, and you don't get that feel with.
It's just.
I mean, I know it's difficult
walls.
It just doesn't seem to have that feel to it. It's like an open space with just like a few corner ruins here and there.
What I would have preferred is either they do a box that had more minis in it, or do something that's more like Warcry scenery. Like, give us like a domed building, give us like a statue, just some little details that just had a bit more to it.
Now that you're talking about that, I noticed earlier, and I didn't get round to watching it yet, but Zorp Gaming, Lockie, he's been working for a long time on a Dol Guldur table, using the like the official Games Workshop scenery and then making his own. The next video in that is out, and I just really, really want to see how he's done that. It is an absolutely massive table board, and he's built it for gaming on, but it's also very movie accurate. Intriguing.
One highlight we haven't mentioned yet is Glorfindel, who's a personal favourite character of mine in the books. And while I usually go for the evil armies, Glorfindel's always he's always left out of adaptations because
he doesn't do much in the.
Well,
he's important for like one chapter.
You've got this mighty warrior that you don't actually find out in the main book was in one of the most important battles in ancient history, and then died. And in an unprecedented move, the gods decide to just resurrect this random elf when they've never done that before. And all you see of him in the book is he comes in and helps Frodo for like 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's kind of why he always gets sort of sidelined. Same with Tom Bombadil.
There's too much weird backstory that just doesn't fit with the story. But
see, I mean, I've argued this with several people who were pretty sore about the omission of Tom Bombadil from the Fellowship of the Ring film, and it's like, well, hang on, right? So what happens is Gandalf tells Frodo that evil will be drawn to this ring, and that he must hold on to it. He can't give it to anyone because it will corrupt them. Mm-hmm. And everyone that meets him will want the ring, whether they know it or not. And then he meets Tom Bombadil, who is completely unaffected by the alluring nature of the ring. He gets to
DGAF.
Yes, he gets to Rivendell, and everyone there manages to resist it. He goes to Galadriel, and she resists it. So it's just this constant... This is the thing that will corrupt anybody except for Frodo, and he keeps meeting people who resist it.
I think it's written like a Warhammer rulebook.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't know. That
I just think, in the book...
We love our Warhammer rulebooks.
In a film, in a movie, right, it has to go right up to the end where it's a big thing that Aragorn resists it and accepts that Frodo is leaving. And that's like Aragorn's big moment of his destiny is more important than his own ambition. But in the book, there have been many more characters that have resisted it. And I think that the reason that he gets omitted is because it undermines in a narrative of a 3-hour movie.
I would say, though, Rivendell, you start to see people affected by it, particularly Boromir and Bilbo.
But then you get Gimli. Just his initial reaction is just to twat it with an axe.
True. Okay.
Yeah,
I don't know. I kind of felt like that was a bit of Gimli, seeing the liquor that he knows he shouldn't drink. Sorry, seeing liquor that he knows he shouldn't drink and just pouring it down the sink before anyone can talk about it.
See, here's my controversial take: Tom Bombadil.
He's tempted by it.
Shouldn't be an adaptation, but they should still work in the Barrow Down scene because that's really spooky. Where they go into the graves of
what I would
down
love
by
to see
wraiths.
Is like a Lord of the Rings version of Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are Dead, where it's like Glorfindel and Tom Bombadil, and they're having their own adventure that's sort of winding through the Fellowship of the Ring movie
itself.
Would
be interesting.
With lots of little just missing the main action moments.
Yeah,
I think that would be great. I mean, have you heard about the new Lord of the Rings movie that's coming out?
There's a streaming series.
I know the series.
Oh, no, this isn't the series. This is a Philippa Boyens written movie universe, as in the Peter Jackson universe version. And it's about the tale of Helm Hammerhand. Okay. It's an animated film. It's narrated by Miranda Otto, reprising the role of Eowyn as the narrator. It's got Brian Cox as Helm Hammerhand. But yeah, it's telling the story of how, not sure if it's how Helm became king or how Helm passed on, whatever. But I don't want to go too much into it because I want to watch it and I don't want to spoil myself with it.
I am super hyped now for Rings of Power. And
so am I.
I know a lot of people.
It's pissing off the right people.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a black elf.
But it's pissing off the right people.
I mean, all of that aside, there's a lot of people who've just been very negative about every part of it. And while there does seem to be like a lot of focus on like having non-white actors playing characters, I've seen a lot of people just kind of go like diss everything about it, like the way like even like Sauron looks like Eminem, which is pretty funny. I will give them that. But the second they showed Valinor and the two trees on screen, I was like, okay, I'm hooked.
Well, maybe we should have a premiere party over here.
I think
to bring up more Malifaux stuff, I guess they do alternate art models and cards for some of their main stuff. So it won't. So you'll this for Gen Con. It excited me because it was sugar skulls, and for sentimental reasons, I pay attention to sugar skulls. So sugar skulls, they're sugar skull Malifaux characters. So I think the idea is instead of the generic version of this character and their cards and their models and their hench, you can get the sugar skull version. And so if you're interested in Malifaux but didn't know this, you can keep an eye open and see the alternate arts that show up every now and again, which are weird, interest you. Mm-hmm. That's all I have to say about non-Games Workshop stuff.
Okay,
well, non-Games Workshop managers.
It's been a packed episode. We've had loads to talk about.
There's one more thing I want to talk about though, and it's I was thinking earlier about
your tooth.
About my tooth. About my tooth.
Oh!
Put it away! Put it back! Put it back!
Extracted from a head. It's disgusting.
It's not disgusting. It's actually in pretty good condition.
No, please
don't.
Go to the hospital and put that back!
I was just thinking about maybe working it into a piece of scenery or...
Yeah, what are you, a Tumblr kid?
Then if someone gets you scenery, they can cast a hex on you.
See, I know I consulted a witch earlier. Okay. And apparently it's very good for warding off witches. But there are some witches that I like.
You could just put it under your pillow and make get some cash from it.
Or make a witch bottle out of it.
Okay, but... tangents aside, it has been a great episode. We're looking forward to doing these regularly now.
We have no idea what the subject of this one is, but hopefully you do.
Yeah.
And
we hope you've all enjoyed very much. We are Bleeding Tree Gaming. I've been Aimee Warpfiend.
I'm Peter.
And I'm 99.9% of Autumn Witch.
Thank you. Thanks very much for listening. We've got to wrap this up now.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.